the energy doctor for burnt out women over 40, coming on live to chat with you about seasonal meal planning. I was speaking with a client this week about nutrition, and that is an important pillar in the work that I do in helping women recover their energy. We breathe, we move, we nourish. We nourish to build our cells, to rebuild and oxygenize and energize our cells from the inside out. This particular client, she wants to prevent diabetes. She's pre-diabetic, so we had a really good conversation about the quality of her food. Of course, quantity is important, but the quality. Now, I have a system for food selection, and this is what I call soulful eating. For me, soul food is eating foods that are seasonal, so that's the S, foods that are organic, that's the O. See, foods that are unprocessed or minimally processed, that's the U. And foods that are local, that's the L. And the bonus L is foods that are prepared with love. Now, her next step to focus on in terms of eating healthily, she said she would be meal planning. And I said, okay, tell me, what are you planning to do? What does meal planning look like for you? She said, well, I'm going to go to the farmer's market because I know that's where I can get good quality fresh foods. I'm going to purchase what looks good. I'm going to bring it home, cook it, and let the ideas kind of just flow from whatever I select that's locally available. And I said, that's great. Just make sure you are balancing the types of foods. You have root vegetables, you have leafy greens, if they have, fruits, not much now since it's the spring, but apples are, plentiful. But really just try to have a variety of color, texture, flavor, that type of thing. And yes, let the season help you meal plan. Let nature be your guide. Perfect. And I am now in that same predicament because I got my fresh CSA box this week or today from my favorite Black woman farmer in the DMV, Miss Gale Livingstone of Deep Roots Farm. She's in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. Look her up. She's amazing. She cares about our earth. She cares about your health. She cares about being a steward of the land. And I know that her blood, sweat, and tears goes into, growing high quality food and just really leaving a legacy for eating well, caring for the earth, caring for your body. So this is, an important pillar in the work that I do. It's about breathing, moving, nourishing to help energize and recover energy when you are burnt out. So nutrition is key for me. I'm a trained chef as well as a physician of Chinese medicine. So I started off as a cook, and a chef and really focusing on nutrition. So that's a big part of my medical practice is to look at food and having that rebuild, you from the inside out. So let's do some seasonal meal planning because I got my box from Farmer Gale. I'm going to flip my camera and we're going to talk through, what I can do with the bounty from the farm. Alrighty. So first thing is some delicious fresh spinach. So spinach is definitely a favorite, high in calcium. So I can add this to smoothies. I could saute this with some garlic and olive oil. I can, let's see, have it raw and do like a salad. So those are just some ideas right off the top. And let me tell you, whew, Farmer Gale's fresh spinach is like butter. There is just no comparison to fresh local produce that's just been picked. The quality of it is unmatched. Not only the flavor, but you get the higher nutrients. Now, this is what I'm super excited about. These are blossoms from the kale. So you can see the kale leaves at the bottom, but then because she's an amazing farmer, she didn't throw out the kale blossoms. She gave us the kale blossoms. So I did a farm visit couple of weeks ago at the spring equinox, and she had us to all taste what this floret tastes like, and it tastes just like broccoli. It is so cool. But once it starts to flower, then you get this beautiful edible flower here. So an idea right off the top is that, this could be beautiful garnish for my spinach salad, right? Now, this is very much like broccolini, the stem, the floret. So I will definitely be sauteing the stem and the floret of the kale. Now, the kale, I love kale. Like, I have a very strong love affair with kale, one of my favorite dark leafy greens. I just love the texture. And it's super sweet. We're coming out of the colder winter months, so the sugars are intensified. That's how they survive, in the colder climate. So the taste of winter kale, oh my God, so delicious. So what I'll be doing with this is braising it. And I love combining collard and kale. So I'm growing collard, and I'll combine my fresh collards from the backyard with this delicious bunch of kale. I love a good kale salad. I have a delicious recipe for kale salad. It's not your typical recipe. What you do, well, I'll show you while I'm chatting about it. Caramelize some onions, saute some apples, make a fresh cardamom vinaigrette, and slice your kale super, super thin, like super thin, and then let the dressing basically, essentially just soften the fibers of the kale. And you toss that with the apples and onions. That's the kale salad. That is delicious. I'll have to prepare that and do a video preparing that. So that's the kale. And then we have salad greens. Yum, yum, yum. So tender, so delicious. So perhaps I can mix this with the spinach if I do a salad. Of course, I'll be doing my dressing from scratch. I don't rock with store-bought dressing because a lot of the oils are either canola or soybean, um, high omega-6 oils, or, genetically modified, because soybeans, canola oil, those are basically genetically modified, and we don't rock with those. So I do fresh dressings from scratch with olive oil. What else? We have apples. Yum. I'll be just having these for a snack, or I could, like I said, do that kale salad with the sauteed apples. Um, what else do we have? Turnips. Delicious. I have a niece that is who loves exploring recipes on TikTok and Instagram, so can't wait to see what she sends me because typically I will just boil and mash turnips and put some garlic and olive oil on it, or I'll add them to dark leafy greens like kale and collard. Um, but I want to see, what she comes up with when she does her research because I'm sure there's so many other things you can do. And then finally, we have beets. Love beets. Blood builders, great for, energizing yourself because your blood is, the seat of good health. So you would definitely want to have dark, naturally pigmented red foods to help build blood. So yeah, I will be roasting these. You could easily grate them as well to have them raw. So you could do like a grated beet and carrot salad. I could roast this and have it with the apple and add that to my salad. So yeah, that's my idea for my fresh produce. Thanks for hanging out with me, and just know that allowing Mother Nature to do your meal planner for you is an excellent idea because when you're eating locally, you are adapting more to the season that you're currently in. You are adapting to your local environment. You are supporting farmers. Therefore, you are supporting your local economy. So, wherever you are, go and explore. Your farmers have questions for them. How do they grow their food? And we're putting a face to where our food comes from. We are understanding the importance and the power that food has in our health, especially for the burnt out woman over 40. Really take a moment to strengthen your relationship with food, care about where it comes from, connect with people who care about growing and producing good food, and just watch the effects that this will have on your health. Good food is a good foundation for good health. So thanks for hanging out with me. I will definitely be coming on and doing more lives, and I probably will be cooking some things because I have tons of recipes. I do have a cookbook as well on Amazon, How to Cook with Essential Oils. So more to come, folks. Thanks for rocking with me. Thanks for hanging out, sharing this sacred time, and more to come. So until the next time, may the blessings be.